I am joined today by the lovely Nikki Shepherd. Nikki, you're from NS Accounts and Technology Limited. Have I got that right?
Yes.
Yeah, fab. And you're an accountant with nearly 20 odd years experience, yeah? And you're also my accountant.
Yeah.
And I reached out to you, I think it was yesterday or the day before, wasn't it? To say, look, hang on, I could really do with somebody to actually, speak to all of the businesses that I know, because I linked to thousands of businesses, mainly in the UK. And I think it would be really, really helpful just to get kind of like an overview of what the hell's going on in terms of the government support. Because, I was watching the kind of the news, and there were quite a few little kind of dips and grey areas in it. So it sounds like, way brilliant, because, I'm a limited company, and I reached out to you and I was like, well, so, okay, so how about this like 80% thing, because this is a leveler in businesses. It doesn't matter what business you are right now, it's a leveler, isn't it? And I reached out to you and said, well, what is the 80%? And you came back to me and went, yeah, Heather, you can take 80%, but you've got to stop working, you've got to shut down your business. Like, I can't do that. I've got beautiful clients I've got to serve. So there's a few little kind of areas of this that I think it's worth discussing, just so people are clear about what are the government saying. And I absolutely appreciate also, Nikki, that, and I want people to know this, that this is an evolving, changing situation. And
Yeah.
I don't want to put you on the spot about like you're the oracle that kind of like knows even more than the government, because that's not the case. But I think it's just, you're so human, Nikki, in terms of like reaching out to people and businesses. So let's jump right in. The first question I suppose is, what are the options for someone who is a limited company right now with employees? Let's start there. So if you've got employees at the moment, you're a limited company, what are your options?
Okay, so first of all, for your employees, you need to make them furloughed. You need to tell them that their status is changing to furloughed.
Furlough. Now, hang on, Nikki, I've got to jump in here, honey. So
Okay.
I never heard of this term before. So furloughed, is it furloughed? Is that how it's?
Yeah, it's furloughed. Now, I did have to Google it to figure out what exactly it meant. And it basically, it's a staff retention scheme. So this is for all the staff that you would have potentially have made redundant and got rid of because of the current situation. So this is about retaining them. So effectively, these staff are going to be people that are doing nothing, that are on holiday, basically, on leave. So they're not responding to emails, they're not placing up sales, they're not doing stuff for you, because these are people that you could have turned around and said, we have no work for you, so therefore we're terminating contracts. So this is what that system is set up to do, is to help retain those staff, so that when we come out of this, people still have jobs, and we still have employees as business owners, and work can hopefully pick up and carry on.
Yeah, sure.
Excellent. So that's what that situation is in place for. The difficult part of that is that obviously some people need to just work a little bit less. Yeah. And that's a really grey area as to whether they can or can't claim for that. An example of that is like a nursery that's looking after key workers' children, but on reduced hours. So while those staff that are being part-time workers, they've reduced their hours, so their pay has gone down, can they claim some of that? That is a grey area that I don't know the full impact of that and how much we can do. So for most employees, it's relatively simple. You can say there's no work. The answer for people that work in their own businesses, like you and me, so we've got limited companies, we pay ourselves a wage, be it a small wage or a normal wage, because as directors you can pay yourself in slightly different ways. You're still working on your business. Clearly we're both still working on our business today. This is what we're doing. But so we don't come under that category effectively. We're not going to turn off the computer and say, nah, that's it, I'm going to claim 80%, because we're still trying to keep our businesses going. I've got lots of people that need my help, so therefore I'm going to carry on helping those people, and the same way for you. And that will apply to an awful lot of other business owners out there. They may well be out there chasing payments from people to make sure that they can try and improve their cash flow and get cleared down some creditors. and things like that. So it doesn't really apply to them on that scale, I'm afraid.
Okay.
But the way to claim this 80% hasn't been put in place.
Yeah.
So at this moment in time, we don't know. All we're told is there'll be a portal to apply for.
Yeah.
And when that portal comes, it'll probably crash because everyone will be doing it.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that it's relatively simple, because I'll probably be doing it for every one of my clients. So yeah.
Yeah, excellent. All right, so thanks so much for that. So in summary, if you have employees and you would have laid them off anyway, you can claim the 80% towards that. If you have an online business, which predominantly you and I have got online businesses, which is fantastic, but if we're directors, which we both are of our companies, it's like, well, we either shut down our businesses, which quite honestly isn't an option for either us or many others, and that's when we got to get very, very proactive and resourceful in terms of our lives, our businesses, and our marketing, quite honestly. So so from that point of view, that's brilliant. Thank you so much for answering that. So the next one is, well, let's look at our beautiful self-employed colleagues then out there. So thankfully the government yesterday yes, reached out and said about this 80%. There again, there's a few kind of niggles about this one. It might not, all that glitters isn't gold. I mean, it is better than nothing, let's put it this way. But let's just have a chat about that. If someone's self-employed, what's available to them now, right now?
Okay, so as long as they were self-employed for last tax year, so up to March 19, as long as they've done a tax return, and they are saying, if you haven't done your tax return, i.e. it's late, get it done, because you'll still be included if you can get your tax return done. So anybody that had to do a tax return up to March 19 are included. So all those new people out there that created businesses or self-employed working this year fall through the cracks. They're not included.
Right, that's an interesting one actually, Nikki. So I didn't realize that. So because we want to just take this really, because I want this to sink in with everybody, because this is the thing. There's a lot of surface information out there. The government makes all these announcements, and people just sit there going, okay, this isn't sinking in. How does this really apply to me? So let's just get this really simple. So if you set up a business between what, January the 1st last year and right now, is that right? You fall through the crack or not?
Yeah, it's actually up to March 19 last year. If you did a tax return up to March 19 last year, then you are okay. If you created your business after that, so since March 19, then you won't have done a tax return because they're not due yet. In a couple of weeks time, or you can start doing them then, but they won't, even if you get all your tax returns done and they're not going to be included. Because I did initially go, oh no, does that mean April I'm going to be doing everyone's tax returns to suddenly get them all in? I thought, well, that makes January really easy next year, but that's not the case. Obviously I can do them if people want me to, but they're not going to be included. So the government's going to look at the last 3 years to work out an average of tax returns, and it is only on self-employed income.
Yeah, so can we explain this, Nikki? Because again, this is really sort of basic 101 accounting. So if you're self-employed, you put in your tax returns. Say you made let's pluck a figure out of our head. So say you made £30,000 through your business in total. That was all the sales that came through your business, and out of that, you took a wage, drawings of about 12,000. I'm sorry, I'm putting you on the spot here. Say 12,000 in drawings. So what is the 80% taken on then? Just explain basic 101 for people.
I think we need to sort out the terminology there, because you're saying, oh, I took wages out as drawings. That's effectively a limited company.
Drawings.
As a self-employed, you don't take drawings, you take money out of the business, but actually your income minus your expenses is your taxable amount, and that is what you put through. So if you have a turnover of 30,000 and you spend 15,000, you have a profit of 15,000, and that's the taxable profit. There's no drawings, there's no things like that. It's different with limited companies in the terminology and how you get paid. So that difference, if you did make £15,000 they'll work out the calculation on that.
So that's the 80% that they would work out 80% of that 15,000.
Yeah, it's capped. The profits can't be over 50,000. So if you made 50,000 and a half, you won't be included.
Okay.
So it is capped for self-employed people.
Yeah.
And it's 80% up to £2,500.
Okay, and they mentioning, Nikki, about paying this in like a lump sum, aren't they? So
yes,
if we took like 80% of 15,000, what does that, is that?
It's the monthly figure, so it won't be 80% of the whole year. It will be for the month of April. Yeah. And I suppose if we're still in shutdown for May, but we're not, then it'd be for the month of, so it'd be for that period of time. Is my understanding of it, but no, it's not 80% for the whole year. Yeah.
So let's just, so I've got my calculator in front of me. So £15,000. Let's say somebody made £15,000 profit. Yeah. That's that divided by 12. That's about £1,250 a month. Mm-hmm. And then if we take 80% of that, so that's £1,000. So that's what the government would give in a drawdown, and it's a. And as we think at the moment, it's just going to be like a drawdown of a one-off kind of payment, and then if it rolls forwards, excellent. Right, brilliant. Okay, so thank you for confirming that. And I just wanted to, this is basic 101 accounting, because I really want to sort of like get very clear, and I'm asking very kind of like basic questions here, because I don't want this to kind of, I want this really to sort of cement in with people in terms of what they can actually get. Okay, so freelancers, this was a big one. Now, because the freelance industry, they were kind of reeling a little bit, because they seem to fall through the cracks as well in terms of like being consultants or coaches. So they would fall into now this self-employment category, would they not?
It totally depends on how they filled in their tax return. So there is a part for self-employed work. Now, if they put their consultancy work through that, then that will be the part that they're self-employed. It's just another word saying they're freelance, they're self-employed. If they run their freelancing through a limited company, then it is different. So it does completely depend. Everyone has different terminology, which boils down to pretty much the same thing. Yeah. So, a lot of people say that, oh, I'm self-employed. I'd say I'm self-employed. I employ myself, but I run a limited company, and I'm a payroll director on that limited company. I don't get the self-employed part of it. Yeah. I don't fall within that. So, and there's a lot of people out there that, for reasons of keeping their tax at a decent level, have gone that route. So there's a lot of people that might fall into the 40% bracket if they were self-employed, but have gone limited, to reduce their tax and get paid by dividends. Yeah. Dividends are not included in any of these calculations. So
there we go, folks. So that's another bit of a sting really in the tail, isn't it? Is the fact that and the bottom line is that I've said this before, that business is you're always going to get curveballs. This is not the first time or the last time that you will have challenges in your business and whatever. This is a major kind of challenge that's happening right now. And it was possibly, it was unseen, wasn't it, really? I think that's
couldn't have planned for it.
Couldn't have planned for it at all. So it's about learning really about this, and actually, getting, if you are one of those businesses that have fallen through the cracks, it's vital right now that you, and I know this is hard, but it's about like hitting the floor, dusting yourself off, standing up and going, come on, right, okay. And raising your vibe, so you're not in that kind of fight and flight part of the brain, so you can get into this frontal cortex bit, which is more logical and more kind of practical. And how can I get out there and serve my customers and clients more, existing clients and customers, as well as then sort of reaching out to other people that might need my help. So brilliant. Okay, so we've spoken about sort of limited, self-employed. Let's talk very quickly now about what's going on with the tax situation right now. There's something about sort of taxes kind of deferred or something, or did I hear that?
Yeah. So any tax that's due, say for example, all self-employed people, whether they were self-employed or paid dividends, anyone that created a tax return will have an on-account payment due in July. That no longer exists. That doesn't need to be paid. till next January, so January 2021. Trying to think what year we're in then. And so therefore, rather than doing an on-account payment this January and July, it's effectively just this January. You have to pay a larger balancing figure in January.
Yeah.
So that's going to help a lot of people in July, because if they've put money by for this, which I recommend to everybody, so obviously everyone's done that, then they've got a pocket of cash that they could try and pull back into the business for cash flow. Yeah. Because everyone's cash flow is hit. And cash is, they say cash is king, and it's an emperor at the moment. We need money to do what we need to do. And so rather than having a little pot ready for a bill in July, you can use that now. Sure. So that's what that suspension is. The other thing is if you have a corporation tax bill due, you can call and ask for time to pay. And you're more than likely going to get time to pay at this moment in time. So it is a phone call to a human being, and you have got to ask for it. But from what I gather, they're not going to be as hard as they usually are to get you a payment plan. So it could be that you could defer your corporation tax. You could say, I could start paying it in 2 months' time, but I'll split it over 3 months, or whatever bill you think you can do to put to them. Then I'm sure they will agree to it, because no one's got any income at the moment, or they have reduced income. So.
Excellent. Okay. And how about the VAT? Good old VAT for those of us who are VAT registered.
So first of all, a lot of people thought they didn't have to do their tax returns, which for their VAT. Still need to do your VAT returns. You still need to submit them and tell HMRC how much tax VAT you are meant to be paying. What you don't have to do is actually pay it yet. So one thing they didn't say is that you do have to go and delete your direct debits with your bank, because if you don't, it will go out. So if you're on a direct debit scheme and don't manually pay for your VAT, go on your bank now and delete that direct debit, or else that money will go out. But it doesn't have to be paid until the end of the tax year of 2021, which is March next year. So you can not pay this tax return. So anyone that's got a tax return, say 31st of March, when they do their VAT next week, or whatever it will be, as long as they do it by the 7th of May, and they've actually submitted it, they don't have to pay it on the 7th of May. They can defer it and pay it. As long as they've paid it by the end of March next year, that's okay.
Amazing. Amazing. Thank you, Nikki. So is there anything else that you want to add here that you feel relevant, that that people should know about, or anything that you've heard, any questions you've been asked that we haven't covered at the moment, Nikki?
I think most of these questions are the case, but one thing I will point out for the people that fall through the cracks, the people that we've mentioned that none of these schemes are going to help, they can apply for universal credit. And they may well get that. There was a lot of talk that it's only £94. That's statutory sick pay. And universal credit can be more. So it depends on your personal situation. If you have a partner that has a wage coming in, that will affect it. But it is worth trying to see if there's something you can get there, because if none of these other schemes help you, there's a chance that it's not the catch-all, but it might be the little safety net that just keeps you just above the water and keeps you trading and keeps you going for when this is over.
I mean, I think it's a time where you can't afford to be proud, in terms of it's a case of I know that when this crisis hit, and I've gone public with this and telling my clients and other people, is that I immediately dug out all my bank accounts, every single like the business ones, my personal ones, the joint ones, and I sat down. I spent an entire, it was last weekend actually, not all the time because it was just like, whoa, this is just too much, but just like dipping in and out of it over the weekend, of really sort of going through things that that we, you know, over time we kind of go, oh yeah, I'll have a direct debit for that and this and whatever, you know. One of the examples I gave was my Sky account. You know, I looked at the bank statement and I was like, good God, this is 80 quid a month. What the hell are we paying 80 quid a month for? You know, because at good times you kind of like, you let things like that go. Well, I did anyway, let things ride. And when I looked at that on my bank statement, I was like, 80 quid, good God, what? We only watch blimmin' two channels on that day. And I was just like crazy. Yeah. And I reached out to Sky. Okay, fair enough. I was on the phone for an hour waiting for them because, of course, a lot of the helplines at the moment, hotlines are like, yeah, overwhelmed. But it was worth spending an hour waiting for that call, because when I got through to them, it was like, well, what, you know, I realized that there was something within that I was paying for that we didn't even have a blooming box for. I mean, it was like 15 quid a month. And I was like, that's within that payment. We're not even, yeah, you know, so we paused it, kind of like did this, you know, spoke to them, and I got it down to sort of £21 a month. Yeah. And like the next bill going out is a tenner. So, you know, and that's crazy. I mean, this really, it's a lesson to me. And I suppose a lot of people doing this exercise now is like, whoa, tighter financial control, more management of not being so blasé. I mean, I'm talking for myself here. I was been very blasé, and so going through everything and just sort of checking and going, I don't need that anymore. No, that's not essential right now. Applying for a mortgage holiday. You know, there's a lot of the mortgage companies right now are saying, yeah, 3-month freeze. Why wouldn't you take advantage of that, folks? You know, that's a decent amount of cash into your bank account again to stabilize things and make things far more fluid, because that's what we're talking about, isn't it, Nikki? With cash flow is fluidity.
Yeah, I mean, they always say that you know, look after the pennies and the pounds look after themselves, but you can, as you say, get blasé about things. But if you spend for no reason, you'll have no money. Yeah. So it's a good exercise to do. There's other things like with your council tax, most people pay it over 10 months. You can apply to pay that over the 12 months, and that just spreads it a little bit to reduce your direct debits, so that each month you have a little bit more. That's, you know, little things you can do for your home. Definitely phone up Sky, especially if you've got sports, because there is no sport. That is something I need to do because I don't want.
Yeah, that's what triggered us to do it. Actually, my husband turned around and said, "Well, we got the Sky Sports; it's all cancelled at the moment, and they've said that they'll pause it." And it was really simple. You can literally go onto your online Sky account if you've got the login, and just click a button to pause it. I was going to say, but I kind of like, I paused it and then went, actually, that's still not enough in terms of what the hell are we paying for here? And so, so there's little things you can also do. Don't just look at your business scenario, look at your household accounts, see where you can
get all bills down.
Yes, absolutely. And that's what I did. Literally, it was like all the bank accounts all in one place. Bang, let's just strip this baby out. Let's get it nice and lean, because you see, as in business, as in life, the leaner you can make things, the faster you can go, isn't it, Nikki? You know, it's sort of like, so anyway, I thank you so much, Nikki, for coming on here today. So if people wanted to reach out to you, Nikki, if they need a damn good accountant to actually guide them through this process, how do they reach you, Nikki? Have you got a website you can give people, or is there contact details?
So I have a website, www.nsaccounts.co.uk, or an email, which is Nikki, which is NIKKI @nsaccounts.co.uk.
Yeah, so that's N for Norman, S for sugar, NS accounts, .co.uk. Brilliant. Thank you so much, Nikki. I'm sure if there are any questions that people put in the stream or comments below this that are hopefully constructive comments and feedback, please, I'm sure that we can sort of like, I can get those messages to you and we can answer those for people. Thank you so much for taking the time today to jump on the call. Much appreciated. You take care, Nikki.
And you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.